Hey everyone, Chris McGinnis here. So I had a fairly lousy day at work today. I'm tired, I'm not feeling well, but I know I've got to do this before the day is out, so here we are. Welcome to day 2 of the 12 days of Let's Read. And today I have something quite strange. In fact, it's probably the oddest idea for a crossover I've ever heard of in my life. It's a crossover of Harry Potter and Tetris. You heard me. So, without further ado, it's thankfully a fairly short story. Let's read Magic of Tetris by Freaky Person. Capital O, period, lowercase o. That's seriously the author's name. It's Freaky Person, then capital O, a period, and then a lowercase o. You know, I guess, to sort of make it, I guess, you know, it's that part that most of the time looks like a face where, like, one eye's real big, one eye's real small. Whatever, here we go. Magic of Tetris. Chapter 1. I'm Blue. One day, on an ordinary blue textureless background, walked the famous Harry Potter. Harry Potter was not your average everyday boy. Nope. He has hair so unruly and unchangeable that Medusa looks on enviously. He's skinny and wears baggy clothes that would make any fashion designer scream and run for the hills. He's a wizard in training, learning power spells and enchantments, but most importantly, he's lost and pissed off at the endless blue space. Harry did not know exactly how he got into this never-ending blue, but he does know that if he doesn't find the fucking exit soon, whoever brought him there will get their asses painted blue and the paintbrush shoved in afterwards. Being pissed as he was, Harry failed to notice the rather large object heading for him until it almost hit him, falling on what Harry assumed was the ground. Looking intently at the object, he noticed 4 things about his situation. 1. The object was a large cube-like thing that would look like a square if he looked at it from the right angle. 2. The square is yellow. 3. Harry Potter is in a friggin' Tetris game. And 4. There are probably more of these things falling down, and so he should probably look up. Looking up, indeed, there was an overly large object falling down to its current location. Cursing, Harry Potter dodged the object only to find more coming down on his current position. Cursing at the sadistic bastard who seemed to be aiming at him in specific, Harry jumped into one of the holes formed by the player's mistake, giving him time to recuperate. After searching for his wand, Harry cursed again, not finding it anywhere on him. He cursed even more when he noticed that the player was done clearing through the mess he made and was aiming at his current position. Harry continued dodging for what seemed like hours, noticing that the speed of the blocks was steadily increasing, and the accuracy of the player was decreasing. Neither boded well for Harry, as he was stuck in the infinite blue and the blocks were still falling, making the tower bigger and bigger. Taking his time to wonder about how he got into a Tetris game in the first place, Harry didn't notice the yellow square heading down in his location until it was too late. Fuck, he said as the words game over flashed over the blue space. That's when Harry Potter lost conscience. Yes, conscience. Not consciousness. Conscience. Harry Potter lost that still, small voice in the back of his head that tells him what's right and what's wrong. That's when Harry Potter lost conscience and woke up in the middle of a beautiful green field. No one will ever know about the origins of Harry's dreams, or how the player lost so fucking fast, or who the player was, and especially how Harry found a Tetris game in his pocket after waking up. Said game promptly exploded when he turned it on because of the large amount of magic radiating from Hogwarts. What we do know is that day Harry Potter was late for class. Wait, what? Late? Oh, fucking hell. Professor Snape's gonna use my nether regions for his freaking potions for this. Author's note. Started cursing more? I don't know what the fucking hell you're talking about. You would not believe how fun this was to write. Which brings up my new main goal. Reviews move to side goal. To have at least one Harry Potter crossword for every category on. This will be so much fun. Freaky Person O, capital O, period, lowercase o, where insanity meets me. Let's read the second chapter here. Second and final chapter, I may add. Loading. Excuse me. Chapter 2. ZOMG! A Ronald Weasley story. It was just a normal day when Ronald Weasley sat down to finish the herbology homework. They had been assigned to write a blooming 20-page report about the wonders of plants, and after 2 hours of staring at the blank parchment he took out earlier, needless to say, Ron was just about ready to go and spend the rest of his day having a heartfelt conversation with Moaning Myrtle. After finally deciding that staring at the parchment would not only not get his homework done, but it would also have no chance of mutilating it into strange and horrifying shapes and then burning it to a crisp. He would need it for that, and after 2 hours of staring at a piece of parchment, Ron didn't really feel that going through all the trouble of lifting his wand and muttering a few words was worth it. It was 5 hours later when the sun began to set. The birds were slowly receding back to their trees and all this other sappy stuff you've heard too much of happen. Not to mention when Ron's head was about to implode, seeing as it would take too much trouble going through the process of combustion in order to explode when Ronald finally finished his report. It's a work of art, he thought as he sifted through 20 pages of worthless babble he would forget all about the next day. It may have taken a while, but I guess I can sleep easy tonight knowing it's done, he thought, not understanding the perils of which those words brought forth. After packing up his stuff, Ron carefully carried his precious report along with the rest of his junk up to his room, where he carefully tried the precious report with some ribbon he stole from someone else's bed. Probably Neville's. Sitting down on his bed, he stared in awe at his finished work lying peacefully on the table. With pride welling up within him, Ron thought about the great mark he would receive for all his hard work, and how much gloating he was sure to do afterwards. It was right about then when the universe collapsed, when different dimensions fitted together and universes split apart, but none of this deeply affected the dimension Ron was currently in. Oh no, Ron's dimension was only affected in the slightest way it could possibly. It was such a small occurrence and lasted for so little time that would later become a myth through the school of Hogwarts, only because everyone else claimed they were there to witness it for the glory. Only one person was truly there to witness this great collision of worlds, though, and that one person was Ronald Weasley. So as he stared at his precious piece of work, Ron was completely unprepared for the sudden knowledge that seeped into his brain. Images flickered within the darkness of his mind, having a lot of space to flicker with, seeing as most of the things occupying this mind were variously thrown into his report. Seconds later, Ron knew all about a game called Tetris. Some more seconds later, a fairly large Tetris block appeared out of nowhere. Some more seconds after those seconds, Ronald Weasley's paper was eaten by a Tetris block. What? Some would think that it was at this point that Ron's brain snapped and he would forever spend his days in padded rooms. Some think that Ron's scream of anguish was heard across the whole school. Some don't think at all and would rather find out what really happened, while some think too much and should keep reading to find out. The truth is, none of that stuff happened. There was no scream of anguish, and Ron's brain was as intact as it was the previous day. What did happen was something that one would never think of. A grin formed across Ron's face, and he promptly fell asleep awaiting the next day. It was the next day, in herbology class, when the report was due. Everyone handed in the report. Everyone except Ronald Weasley. When asked why he didn't have his report done, Ron simply replied with an excuse that he had ready since the night before. A creature from a Muggle game ate it. And then promptly headed for the girls' bathroom for that heartfelt conversation with Moaning Myrtle he was just dying to have. Dying, spelled incorrectly, D-I-E-I-N-G. Oh, author's note. Someone asked me to continue. I did. I will continue reading the fan fiction I was in the middle of before I started this. Enjoy! Freaky Person, capital O period, lowercase o, when insanity meets me. Alright, so... Harry Potter Tetris crossover. Yeah. That's a thing, apparently. Well, yeah, I just read it, so... Okay, well, that will do it for, Day 2 of the 12 Days of Let's Read. See you tomorrow with Day 3. Who knows what I'm going to come up with then? Personally, I'm kind of frightened to find out myself. Good night.